Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this month's edition of What's Your Plan? Each month, Assisting Hands sponsors a chat with an industry expert who is in the world of aging and aging well. And we talk to them and learn a little bit about what they do, what their organization does, and try to educate people on what's out there that may be helpful for them and their families as they are approaching aging and how to do it well. So a little background on me and Assisting Hands. So I'm the owner of Assisting Hands Home Care. We are a private duty home care company where we put aids in people's homes to reduce the stress on families by being there when they can't be. We focus on knowledge, information, education, hence why we do these talks, to really educate families on what's available, what's possible, to reduce their stress so that they don't do it the hard way, the way my wife and I did it when we were caring for both my parents and my father-in-law. So we serve all of Montgomery County, the northern part of PG County, and Fairfax County, Virginia. And as I said, we work in hospitals, hotels, people's private residence, wherever they are. We do long-term cases for people living with chronic illness and injury. And we do short-term recovery cases where someone may be having cataract surgery and they need someone to pick them up and take them back home and get them in the door and fluff their pillows and everywhere in between. So this month, we're really excited and lucky to have Ken Silverstein, who's been in the senior industry in a variety of roles for a very long time. So he is a true expert on the world of aging and aging well. And he is now with Friends Club. And Ken, I will let you say a little bit more about you and Friends Club.
Okay.
So welcome to the program.
Great. Thank you so much for inviting me. Primarily, my background was nonprofit marketing and management, which I had my own consulting firm for 21 years. And then my father-in-law, and one of my clients was involved in dementia. And so that's kind of put me into this world. And then my father-in-law several years ago was diagnosed with severe dementia. And so now as a family member, I was involved, and my wife said to me, since you're traveling in this world now, perhaps maybe we need to start looking at places for her father. And to make a long story short, I visited one of the assisted living facilities here in the county, and they were looking for somebody to do development. And next thing I know, for 3.5 years, I was vice president of development for Alfred House Assisted Living here in Montgomery County. This opportunity at Friends Club as executive director came available, I guess, in November of last year, and I was missing nonprofits, so I decided to take a chance and apply and was hired. And so now I'm able to kind of combine my passions by being at Friends Club. So that's my background.
Great. So tell us a little bit about Friends Club.
Yeah, so Friends Club was started in 1990 by two wives, Molly Tully and Joan Turner, whose husbands had Alzheimer's, and they felt that their husbands needed male socialization, that them being at home by themselves or with their wives was really not helping them. So hence Friends Club was founded. And it is a social club. We are based in Bethesda, but we really draw from all parts of the county. We meet at the Bradley Hills Presbyterian Church on Bradley Boulevard. They are our sponsor, but we are not a religious organization. So that's really important to know. Currently, we meet 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Many of our members, we call them members, attend 3 days, 2 days, 1 day. So it's really up to the family or their caregiver decision as to how many days they want to come. We are in the process of looking at reopening on Tuesdays as well. We have a group of volunteers that are also retired men and one woman who come on different days to help out with various needs that we have. The one thing that I always like to underscore about Friends Club is the amount of knowledge and the careers that these men had. It's just mind-boggling to me. I get blown away when I look at profiles. These are professors, lawyers, federal prosecutors, aeronautical engineers. This guy put satellites into orbit, dentist, pharmacist, doctor. I mean, it's just journalists. It's just the careers are amazing. And what it really says is that these memory illnesses have no prejudice. They go after everybody.
So let me ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
You mentioned men.
Yep.
Is it only a men's group, or are women invited as well?
No offense to women, but it is men only.
Gotcha.
That was a very deliberate decision made over 30 years ago, because Steve, as you know, we kind of behave differently when we're around women. So to be safe and provide a secure area for men to really be men, that was really kind of the foundation for it, and still to this day.
Okay, and so give me the profile of a man that's the typical client. Like, are there any rules or limits on, obviously dementia, Alzheimer's is a progressive disease.
Mhm.
So when is someone sort of become eligible, and when does someone sort of age out when they're no longer a good fit for the group?
So for the record, I've only been there since December, and I have not had to, we call it, graduate anybody out of the program. Historically, what I've heard is that if they start to become wanderers, or there's aggressive behavior, or there's some other medical issue. We're not a medical group, so we are not in the position or have the infrastructure in place to provide any kind of medical care other than calling 911. So those are kind of the telltale signs to start looking at, graduating somebody out. Mobility is another issue. The three primary criteria to be able to participate is they are not able to drive to and from Friends Club. They must be driven. They must be mobile, and they must be able to use the bathroom themselves. So those are kind of the three starting points.
Okay. And how many, do you have an upper limit on the number of members that you permit, or is it'll just grow and you'll have different groups? How does that work?
No, there is a limit. There's a cap of 12 members per day.
Okay.
Plus our volunteers.
So there's no drop in. You have to be scheduled to come.
Yes. Yeah. Basically, as I say it, you're buying your seat at the table. And so you make that commitment. You make the monthly commitment for however many days you choose to come. You're buying your seat at the table.
Okay. And what time in the morning or day does the program start?
So the program members start arriving around 9:30 in the morning, and we finish up at 1:30.
Okay. So is lunch provided as part of this?
Yes, currently we are providing lunch. They started doing that because of COVID. Gotcha.
And is there a moderator? I mean, how is the program run? Give us an example of, I show up at 9:30, take me through my day until 1:30. Sure. What happens?
So we have a program director. Her name is Janet Yusko, and she also started in November. So she's a little bit more senior than I am, if you will. She has a month on me. Her background is she's a social worker, MSW. And Janet really kind of leads the program, and then I complement her. So I'm in there as well for the entire program. So a typical day is members start arriving around 9:30. We'll have coffee and some cookies, and we'll do some chit-chatting. And then at 10 o'clock, we really kind of kick off the program. The first hour is discussion on current events, other topics of interests, members' interests. We are encouraging our members to share with us their hobbies. We have one of our members is an avid Lego builder. And so he put together a presentation with Janet and presented via slides his creations, thousands of pieces of Lego creations, just phenomenal. We have one of our members is a really solid photographer, and he's been on safaris, and he's brought those pictures in, and we kind of, went on safari with him, if you will. We have other interests, sports, of course, sports somewhat, golf. One of our members is an avid golfer, belongs to a couple of country clubs. He loves to talk about golf. So the conversations can go in many different directions. For example, a couple of weeks ago was National Lost Sock Day. One of our volunteers had written a poem about lost socks many years ago. He shared it, and then we started talking, and then we ended up talking about what are we all doing with our ties these days? Nobody wears ties anymore. So now Janet is collecting ties, and she's gonna create this tapestry of ties. So again, the conversations go in many different directions, and that's fine. We're not, in cement here that how we're gonna talk about things. We tend to shy away from politics, and we tend to shy away from war. So that's the first hour. And from 11 to 11:30, we do an activity, a physical activity. We may do a walk around the grounds. We may do bean toss or target toss, some other kind of physical activity just to get the guys up. And then from 11:30 to 12:30, we have live music. So we have a variety of entertainers that come in and do all genres of music. We also have an exercise specialist who comes in once a month, and we do chair exercises, which I find exhausting personally, but that's because I'm not in shape. And so that's for about an hour. And then from 12:30 to 1, we do lunch. And then from 1 to 1:30, we do some kind of a brain mind activity. We do a lot of Jeopardy, Pictionary, geography, so various themes like that. And then at 1:30, we go home.
Gotcha.
Well, they go home.
So it turns out that my wife's a yoga teacher, and I found that she found a use for some of my ties as yoga straps for her students.
Sure.
which I only saw because I took a class and it was Zoom and I was not at home, and I saw all my ties. Luckily, the ones I actually still use on a rare occasion, she had saved. So do you have to have a dementia diagnosis, or is someone with stroke or Parkinson's, are they eligible to participate?
They are. I mean, our vetting process is really, I talk with the family first on the phone. Typically, it's usually the wife, sometimes a daughter or a son, but 99% of the conversations I've had have been with the wife, the spouse. And I kind of get a sense of what's going on, ask them those 3 basic criteria. And then we invite them in for the day as our guest. And spend the day with us, both the spouse and the husband, and or caregiver, and spend the day with us. And then I chat with them afterwards, and they go home, and I tell them to chat and see what they think. And then Janet and I will chat and decide whether we think that the individual will benefit from being in the group. Will the group benefit from him being in the group? So there's Parkinson's is not, we don't not take somebody because of that. But typically, I mean, the primary focus is obviously memory.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And how does the fee structure work? Is it a monthly fee? Do you sign up for blocks of time? What's the range of costs?
So it's a flat fee of $115 per day.
Okay.
So again, depending on how many days you sign up for times 115, and then you're billed monthly, and the commitment is basically monthly. So if for some reason someone misses a day, unfortunately, we've held that seat for them. Sometimes we try to do a make good if we have seats available. So we're somewhat flexible, and the families all understand this. They're all good about it.
And do people typically sign up for 3 days a week, 1 day a week? Is there a range, or could be anything? Depends on their schedule.
It depends on their schedule. A new person, we start out at 1 day a week just to see how things are going. And then as things progress and the family says, so-and-so would like to start coming a second day, if we think that makes sense, there's no reason not to allow him to do that. So we do that, but it really is all over. We have several who come just once a week, several who come twice a week, and a few who come 3 times a week.
So you all don't provide transportation to and from, correct? Families have to get there either with a caregiver or a family member or a friend dropping them off and picking them up.
That's correct. Several of them, and they arrange all that themselves.
Gotcha. Okay. And things like dietary restrictions, is there flexibility on things that people eat, don't like?
Oh yeah. So we have notes up in the office about, don't give this person turkey when we order turkey because he won't eat it. So we have those kinds of things. They do have the option to bring their own lunch. We do have a couple of members that do bring their own lunch specifically because of that issue. They just don't like what we're providing, or they just, they may be vegetarians, whatever, and that's fine.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you ever do outings where you get a bus and take all the 12 away somewhere to go do something?
Not right now. I think historically they may have it at some point, but we've not done that, mainly now because of COVID. We wouldn't do that.
Gotcha. Although the C&O Canal, not far away.
Not far away, yeah. Although I do have to say we are doing a social outing, Big Train Baseball in Bethesda. We were one of the nonprofits selected, so we're going to be there on July 22nd. Yeah, so I was just there Tuesday night for the opening night. All the nonprofits that were selected had to make an appearance. It was really nice. So we are doing that, but everybody's going to get there on their own. We're just going to meet up as a group. They provide dinner for us, which is really nice. So that's kind of our first social outing as a group like that. Yeah, I do know of a couple of our members who outside of Friends Club have kind of connected outside as well, have gone out for dinner together. So that's a nice story as well.
Oh, good. Now, how do people hear about the program? I mean, how do people come to know you?
So it's a lot of word of mouth, a lot of referral. I'm using, programs like this. I do a lot of networking. One of the conditions that I made when I was hired was that Friends Club had to become a member of GROWS, since I was on the board as well. So it just made it very simple, and they said fine. So I do a lot of the networking. Patricia, I just gave your name to somebody just this week. One of our members. So it's a lot of referrals, care managers. I've invited social workers to come and observe us. Neighbor force we're doing things with. I see Christian. So it's really networking primarily. Because we're in the church is very supportive of us. And so they do things for us as well. They put things in their newsletter about us, for volunteers, for example. So.
And are you full at the moment? Is there room for more members?
There is room for more members. And as I said, we are probably going to be opening on Tuesdays shortly. My board is pushing me to do that. I've been trying to fill the other days first, but they want to open on Tuesdays, resume to 4 days a week. So that will be forthcoming. I'm not sure exactly when, but
gotcha. So
I do have seats available.
And are there any plans to grow the program, open up a second location? I don't know. I don't want to spoil your thunder if you've got some big plans in the works that you haven't revealed yet. But
no, there's no secrets. No, there's nothing on the table right now to do anything like that. I have been approached by a group on this side on the Georgia Avenue side of the county on Silver Spring. But we're just not there yet. We want to stay focused on Bethesda right now.
Okay. And do you all accept volunteers? And if so,
yes.
What would they do, and how would somebody volunteer?
Contact me directly and come and spend the day with us and see what's involved. The volunteers are an amazing group, equally of amazing backgrounds. And they do everything. From setting up to cleaning up, and everything in between, helping to serve food, helping with participating in the activities is a big part of what they do. And, help when we're doing Jeopardy, we have teams and they're part of those teams, and they're helping the members try to draw up and come up with the answers, because we know they have them in there. It's just
Gotcha.
getting them to pull it out, pulling it out of them. So that sometimes is a challenge. So that's so much of what the volunteers are there for. And it's a
Can
labor
women
of
be
love.
volunteers?
Pardon?
Can women be volunteers?
Yes.
Okay.
We have one woman volunteer.
What about students? Would that be appropriate for high school or college age kids, or not so much?
I'm not sure about high school. College, maybe, but they do have to make the commitment. Part of the volunteer commitment is that building that bond with the group. So, to come in for an internship for a semester in college probably isn't ideal. It would have to be a long-term commitment. So I'm not sure about high school. First of all, our hours really wouldn't be conducive for high school students. So I'm not really sure that they're mature enough to kind of deal with.
I was thinking about summer programs, but if you're looking for continuity, then that's
Yeah, I kind of feel like we need the continuity.
Gotcha. And Patricia, you have a question?
Well, I just wanted to say that before we get too much further along, are there any questions? We have two esteemed guests also here participating. Janet Gritz, who runs a stroke support group and is a speech pathologist, and Christy McCormack, who's works with Neighbor Force, which provides mini client services. So I'm just wondering if either of you ladies have any questions specific for Ken, or did we get to most of them for you? Feel free to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Patricia,
we got you.
Christy, I'm a big fan of this group and have never met Ken in person. Wendy has. And also the same with Steve and Assisting Hands, because you all have been great with us and helping us get out the word too, and sharing clients and stuff. And we have 3 clients that are in Friends Club, and they're amazing.
Oh, wow.
And Ken, I love what you're doing.
Thank
And
you.
it fits in so much with making life easier for families. And getting some really great engagement going for people who find themselves with dementia. So I just wanted to say thank you to both of you, and Patricia, of course.
Thank you. Come out and visit us. Check us out.
I'm right around the corner from you.
Well, then
Ken.
you have to call me, please.
Yeah.
So one other important aspect of the group that I want to mention is our caregiver support group. That is run by one of our board members, and she's been doing it for years. Do it twice a month. Right now they're doing it Zoom, and it's just for caregivers. Many of whom her husbands are no longer in the group, but have stayed connected. So it's I have never participated in it yet. I keep telling our board person who runs it, I'd like to sit in on one just to get a sense, but it's a very open forum for the caregivers to really talk about things that, to learn that they're all in this together and have the same issues. And it apparently covers a variety of different personal, topics and things. So that's an important part of what we do. And I always say to the caregiver and the father or husband who come in, that they are just as important to us as the member is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Love that. I didn't know that. So that's good to know.
So I saw a great question from Mary, which was, does long-term care insurance pay for the monthly fee? Do you know?
I only know of 1, maybe 2 members that ask us for a receipt to submit for long-term care. So I think it depends on the policy. We don't get involved in it. We don't do any submitting for it or anything like that.
Are there any other grants or programs to help subsidize the cost if that's a burdensome amount to pay? And
Yes. Great question. We do have some scholarship money available. And we do get some grants from a few foundations. I'm kind of looking at trying to beef that up as well.
Okay. So Janet has asked, any chance that you'll start a women's group?
So you've been talking to one of my board members, haven't you? She brings it up all the time. I don't know. It's been talked about since I've been there. It has come up at a couple of board meetings. We do it on a different day, either well, we don't meet on Fridays, so maybe we do it on Fridays. But there's nothing hard in the works to say that we're moving in that direction right now.
Are you aware of any programs, Ken, that if someone's not appropriate for Friends Club, that you could refer them to other programs in the county?
Yeah, I mean, I refer to some of the adult day programs, Kensington Park, we refer people back and forth, Kensington Club rather. So we have a nice working relationship as well. And there's always the adult day centers.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm mindful of the time. We have a couple more minutes. I don't know if there's any other questions.
One question. I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Janet.
For the caregivers group, is that only for caregivers of people who have been in your program, either currently or in the past?
I to the best of my knowledge, that's how you kind of get started.
Okay.
But I do know that there are women in the caregiver support group whose husbands are no longer in Friends Club, or maybe have had some connection to us in the past. So that's something if you know of somebody who needs that, I would reach out to me and I'll put them in touch with our person who handles it.
Okay, and so I think I know the answer, but if someone gets to the point where they are no longer continent, then they would sort of graduate from the program?
Correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Gotcha.
As I said, since I've been there, we've not had to graduate anybody.
Okay.
Thank God. Thank God.
Well, good. Well, I suspect, unfortunately, it may come to pass in your tenure.
I'm sure it's inevitable. So.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining today. And Ken, your information hopefully is on the is it on the screen,
Patricia had it up before.
Okay. Yep. All right. Perfect. And so anyone that needs to get in touch with Ken or wants more information about the Friends Club, certainly Ken's information is now posted. Please reach out. It's a great program. We've had clients who've been in the program prior to Ken's involvement, and they always found it very meaningful and impactful. And it really did help reduce anxiety and stress at home, because someone was getting engagement, getting involvement, using their mind, and it definitely decreased anxiety at home because somebody was having an outlet of communication with peers. And like our clients, it is amazing the things that people have done. We see them only in the twilight of their years, but the work that these men have done in their lives and their careers and the impacts they've made in our world is astounding. And it is great to hear their stories and have them have an opportunity to share it with each other. So Ken, thank you for all you do and
Thank
for all
you.
Friends Clubs do.
Thank you. Thank you again
That's
for inviting
great.
me today.
All right, well, that's it. Again, thank you to Patricia for once again
Thank you,
organizing
Patricia.
a brilliant opportunity and person to talk to.